All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 26, 2023 Montgomery Township Board of Supervisors meeting. We're going to start our meeting tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and we are going to start with public comment. Anyone here wishing to make public comment during this meeting on any items not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. If you can please come forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. All right. Seeing none, I will go ahead and make a comment. We have a 10th grader here from North Penn High School who is a resident of Montgomery Township and is working on his Eagle Scout badge. In particular, he is working on requirements for citizenship in the community merit badge and has chosen the importance of mental health access in the community as his topic of interest. Yash Verma, come on up. And our chair is not here today, but she said, please take her seat. And if you have any words to say to our board, Beth Staub, Tanya Bamford, and this is staff up here. If you have any words to say, your microphone is on.
I'm kind of nervous.
On the spot. Well, I hope you enjoy the meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for
Yes.
joining us, and good
Thanks.
luck with your Eagle Scout.
Exactly. It's a big deal. All right, next we have our consent agenda. I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented for the following: minutes of the September 11th, 2023 board meeting and payments of bills for September 26, 2023.
I'll second the motion.
Any public comment? No? Okay. I'm drawing a blank here.
All those in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item number 5, we have National Preparedness Month of PEMA certifications for township emergency management staff. Bill Wegman, Fire Chief.
Thank you. National Preparedness Month is an observance each September to raise awareness about the importance of preparing for disasters and emergencies that could happen at any time. This year's theme is Take Control 123. The campaign focuses on preparing older adults for disasters, specifically older adults from communities that are impacted by all hazard events which continue to threaten the nation. Montgomery Township emergency management staff engage in various training and exercises to prepare, respond, mitigate, and recover from disasters. The staff also obtains certifications through PEMA, including municipal, associate, and professional certifications. These certifications are required by PEMA for the emergency management staff. The requirements for the certification program include in-person trainings, independent study courses, attendance at quarterly county trainings, and a written endorsement of the County Emergency Management Coordinator. PEMA will issue the appropriate certification once the coursework is completed and Montgomery County Emergency Management Coordinator endorses the application. This year, firefighter Jacob Weltman has achieved his municipal staff professional certification, which is the highest level that a municipal firefighter can obtain through PEMA. It is the recommendation of staff that the Board of Supervisors recognize September as National Preparedness Month, and it is further recommended that we recognize Jake Weltman for obtaining the municipal staff professional certification.
Okay. Any questions for Jake? Okay, I'll make a motion to recognize September as National Preparedness Month. It is further recommended by staff that the Board of Supervisors recognize the members of the fire department for obtaining emergency management certifications through PEMA.
Second.
Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Jake, thank you so much.
Congratulations on your certification.
Yes. And it's never been more important to be prepared, as things seem to be happening at a faster pace these days. So, yep.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
All right, we'll move on to item number 6, conditional use application C80 Atlas Broadband, 1011 Lansdale Avenue. And I'll turn it over to Solicitor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, we will commence this public hearing on the conditional use application for Atlas Broadband Solutions, Inc. This is relevant to a property located at 1011 Lansdale Avenue, Lansdale, Pennsylvania, Montgomery Township. The applicant is proposing to subdivide an existing 1.61 acre lot into 2 lots, with proposed lot 1 to retain a existing single-family detached home, detached garage, and associated driveway. Proposed lot 2 will create a flag lot where a new single-family detached home with a new driveway with access off of Lansdale Avenue would be planned to be constructed at a later time once the applicant would go through a later subdivision review and application. This property is located in the R2 residential zoning district, where flag lots are permitted when approved by conditional use by this board, which is the purpose of this hearing tonight, related to the flag lot nature of that lot. Before we begin with testimony and turn it over to the applicant, I have 5 exhibits I'll mark for tonight's hearing. The first, Board Exhibit 1, is the application of Atlas Broadband Solutions, Inc., submitted through their attorney, Hamburg, Rubin, Mullen, Maxwell. We have Zach Morano here today on that application. That was submitted on July 28th, 2023. Board Exhibit 2 will be an extension letter that was offered by the applicant's counsel, Mr. Morano, dated August 23rd, 2023, to permit any necessary extensions, if so necessary, hold that hearing tonight at this meeting. Board Exhibit 3 is the proof of publication of the legal notice to advise the public of this hearing, which appeared in the Reporter newspaper on September 11th, 2023 and September 18th, 2023. Board Exhibit 4 is the form notice letter that was sent by the township to the required neighboring nearby property owners. And that letter was dated September 5th, 2023 and distributed to the radius required of the adjoining and nearby properties. Board Exhibit 5 is the list of the 21 addresses of those adjoining and nearby neighboring properties and an accompanying tax map to demonstrate the distance of those parcels. With those 5 exhibits, we'll be able to proceed. Before we turn it over to the applicant, is there anybody here in the crowd that would like party status for this application? Meaning, do they wish to appear as a party, either against, usually against, but in favor of the application? That doesn't necessarily mean that you can't ask questions. If you're here just to ask questions on the application, you don't need party status for that. But having party status allows you to participate, call your own witnesses, present your own case in relation to this application. So is there anybody here that's seeking party status?
Yes, I am.
All right.
My name is Bob Taggart, 1036 Pecan Drive. I butt up to the property.
Okay, so to be clear, Mr. Tagger, you're seeking party status, means you would like to ask your own questions as if you were your own attorney to the applicant and their counsel. Again, if you want to just ask questions on the application and see what's here, you get to do that even without party status. But you're seeking party status for the purpose of becoming a party opponent in the application with the rights to file appeals, call your own witnesses.
Never been through this before. I have concerns over the property being developed in this manner, so I'm not sure if that needs to be party status or just here to raise concerns over the property's development.
Okay, well,
I also have a neighbor who's coming tonight. He just dropped his kids off from lacrosse practice. He should be here in a minute.
okay, so if you're here to express your concerns, you can do that without seeking party status, as anyone would be able to present their concerns, provide public comment on the application.
Would that have an effect on the outcome of the board's decision with just
The-
having comments?
I can't speak for the board, but the board would be able to consider questions or comments that are raised or issues that were raised, and the board would be able to perhaps address those comments or questions from the applicant if the applicant wasn't addressing those questions previously.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I need party status because I'm just speaking on behalf of myself.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, hearing and seeing none, we will turn it over at this time to the applicant. So Mr. Morano, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Walko. Good evening. My name is Zach Morano from the law firm of Hamburg, Rubin, Mullen, Maxwell, and Lupin, representing the applicant Atlas Broadband Solutions, Inc. in tonight's conditional use hearing. I passed out to the board exhibit packets, which I will go through right now. The packet includes 7 pre-marked exhibits. Tab A1 is the deed for the subject property. That's dated August 12th, 2022. Applicant is the record owner of the subject property located at 1011 Lansdale Ave in the R2 zoning district. Tab A2 shows an aerial of the subject property. It's located right off Lansdale Ave, and there is currently 1 existing single-family dwelling on the property. Tab 3 depicts some existing photos of the subject property. The first one is the previous house or structure, and the second page is the new renovated house on the parcel right now. Tab A4 is the minor subdivision plan prepared for the project by STA Engineering. Tab A5 is the construction improvement plan for the project, also prepared by STA Engineering, Inc. Tab A6 is the conditional use application and addendum. And to my right is Susan Rice, the engineer on the project from STA Engineering Incorporated. She will review the plans and answer testimony from me, but in a nutshell, applicant has filed a conditional use application to subdivide the existing property, which you can see in the aerial there, into 2 lots. The first lot will contain the existing dwelling that's you have pictures of on the in the exhibits, and the new lot will contain a new single-family dwelling with a new driveway with access off Lansdale Ave. In order to proceed under those proposed subdivision plan, applicant under the code needs to file a conditional use application for the flag lot, and that's why we're here tonight. And that is permitted underneath the code, section 230, 156.5.b. We previously appeared before the Township Planning Commission, who recommended approval for this conditional use. Finally, tab A7 is the CV of Susan Rice. And with that, I don't know if Mr. Walker would prefer to wait to move the exhibits into the record, or if I press them now into the record.
We'll grant them all and we'll move them all now,
Thank
just to make sure we don't forget later. So applicants exhibits 1 through 7 is hereby admitted.
And at this time, I will call my first witness, engineer Susan Rice.
Yes. Susan A. Rice. Is that R-I-C-E?
Okay, Susan, can you just tell the board your current employment and background?
Sure. I work for STA Engineering, Inc. I've been working with them since 1993. I have a degree from Lehigh and a master's degree from Villanova University, and I've been a professional engineer since 2001.
Are you a licensed engineer in Pennsylvania?
I am, yes.
Have you testified in front of municipal boards, zoning hearing boards, as an engineer before?
Yes,
Okay.
many.
Have you been admitted as an expert before?
I have many times.
Okay. And with that, I would respectfully request that Ms. Rice be admitted as an expert in the fields of civil engineering and land development.
So, Mr. Rice, your CV is attached as a Exhibit 7, applicant's Exhibit 7. That is your CV,
That is correct.
and that's a fair and accurate depiction of your experience and background.
It is.
And with that, I'd recommend that she be admitted as an expert in civil engineering.
So moved.
Thank you.
Please continue.
Okay, Susan, can you tell the board where the property is located?
It's located at 1011 Lansdale Avenue.
And what's the present zoning classification?
It's an R2 residential district.
Is applicant, by way of a deed, the record owner of the property?
He is.
What is the approximate size of the subject property?
It's about 1.6 acres.
And how is the property right now improved?
There's an existing single-family dwelling on the property.
And you prepared two plans for the conditional use and subdivision, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Can you briefly tell the board, in your own words, what applicant is proposing to do?
Sure. They're proposing to subdivide that 1.6 acre property into 2 lots. One lot would contain the existing dwelling, and the second lot would be a flag lot that would be to the rear of the existing dwelling.
Okay. Do you want to just quickly, using exhibit tab A, four, which is on the screen, just point out each lot so the board can see them?
So lot 1 is the front lot that contains the existing dwelling. And then lot 2 is the flag lot that is the proposed building lot. You see the flag access is along the southern portion of lot 1.
Can you point out for us the distance between the property line, and I guess that would be the width of the lane, the drive there.
So this is the lane for the drive is 30 feet wide.
Okay, it's too small to read on the.
It's minimum required is 25 feet.
Okay.
Okay, so Susan, is it correct to say that under the township code, specifically section 230-156.5.b, applicant needs conditional use approval from the board to install the flag lot?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, Susan, I am now going to turn your attention to section 230-156.5.a of the township zoning code, which specifies the special regulations for flag lots. Are you familiar with that
I am.
provision? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm now going to review those and ask if this project in flag lot comply with those special provisions. Okay. Does the flag lot provide a lot area of 150% of the minimum established for the individual district or R2 and does not include the area located in the access strip?
It does.
Does the flag lot abut along a public street for a width of not less than 25 feet?
Yes.
Does the driveway serving the new flag lot, is it paved and provide a minimum of 12 feet in width and a vertical clearance of not less than 13 feet 6 inches?
It will, yes.
Is that noted on the plan?
It's noted on the plan, yes.
Does the front yard for the flag lot, is it positioned between the new building and the street from which access is taken?
It is.
Does the front yard of the flag lot, is it parallel to the street from which access is taken?
It is.
Are the side and rear yards for the flag lot not less than 150% of the minimum required by the R2 district?
They are.
Does the flag lot contain an access strip which extends through or beyond more than one tier of flag lots?
It does not.
Does the flag lot, will the flag lot be provided by public water and sewer?
Yes.
Does the flag lot, excuse me, will the flag lot be subject to further subdivision?
No, once this is subdivided, there will be no lot area remaining that could further subdivide any of the lots proposed.
You'd be agreeable to the condition of the same.
Absolutely.
Is the applicant proposing to install or construct a single-family dwelling on the flag lot?
Yes.
Is the shape of the parcel such that a flag lot is suitable for this parcel?
Yes, it's narrower in the front and it's deep in the back so that the back is amenable to a lot.
And is the subdivision plan that you provided a minor subdivision plan for this project?
Yes.
I am now going to turn your attention, Susan, to section 230-156.2.c of the Township Code, which provides the standards and criteria for conditional use approval, and that's spread across all conditional use approval. So I'm going to run through the same line of questioning for you now.
Okay.
Is the proposed use permitted by conditional use?
Yes.
Okay. Will the proposed use conform to the regulations applicable in the R2 district?
Yes.
Will the points of vehicular access to the flag lot will be provided at a distance from the intersections and other points of access in a number sufficient to prevent undue traffic hazards?
Yes.
Will the location of the single-family dwelling on the lot with respect to existing public roads giving access such that the safe capacity of the public roads is not exceeded by the estimated traffic attracted or proposed to be generated?
We're only proposing one single family dwelling, so we're not expecting any traffic issues.
Okay. What about the screening of the proposed use from adjacent uses? Is that satisfactory?
The existing property is wooded and it's wooded mostly along the perimeters of the property. That those wooded bufferings are proposed to remain. And then there's some additional plantings that will be required for replacement trees and some of the land subdivision requirements. So we feel it will be adequately buffered. Screened.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Does the proposed flag lot and single-family dwelling thereon adversely affect or contradict the Montgomery Township Comprehensive Plan?
It does not.
Is it your opinion that the proposed single-family dwelling meets the purpose of Article 1 of the zoning ordinance?
Yes.
Is the proposed flag lot suitable for the character of the neighborhood and the uses surrounding it?
Yes,
Are there other flag lots to your understanding on Lansdale Ave?
there are.
Is it your opinion that the proposed use will impair an adequate supply of light or air to the adjacent properties?
No.
Is it your opinion that the proposed use will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare of the township?
That's tricky. Not adversely. Yeah.
Will the use adversely affect?
No.
And just getting two more here. Will the proposed use, in your opinion, adversely affect transportation or unduly burden water, sewer, school, park, or other public facilities?
No.
And lastly, is it your opinion, will the proposed use overcrowd land or create undue concentration or population of undue intensity of use?
No.
If this conditional use application is granted tonight, will the applicant still proceed through the subdivision process for the plans that were submitted?
Yes.
One moment, please. And those are all the questions I have for Ms. Rice now. So with that, I will turn it over to the board for questions.
Ms. Rice, you'd agree with me that based upon the location of the current uh, single-family structure, you would not be able to put a second along Lansdale Avenue, correct? There's not enough space there based upon our codes.
Correct.
Therefore, it's required to go in the back. You couldn't fit it in the front.
Correct.
Correct. And I don't want to get into the subdivision or land development aspects, but I do know that we have some neighbors here, and there was talk of that wooded perimeter buffer. And I believe your testimony was that that wooded perimeter buffer is going to remain.
Yes, and if you switch to the next page on the screen, that shows some of that buffering.
And what is the dimensions of that buffer, huh? Approximately.
Yeah, probably maybe 15 feet. You can see on the plan, the light shaded symbols for trees are trees that are along the perimeter that will be maintained. And the majority of them are to the north of the existing dwelling and to along that northern property line. And then along the rear of lot 2, the flag lot, there's a numerous deciduous and evergreen trees that will not be disturbed. And then you can see there are some trees that are on the property that need to be taken down because they are dead, dying, or will be a hazard. So they'll be coming down. And then there's some need for replacement trees for trees that are coming down. So we're taking that opportunity to put the replacement trees in areas that could screen or buffer the adjacent properties.
And where the future building is proposed to be constructed, that would be the location where it would have to be constructed according to the dimensions of our
That's
code.
where the building envelope is located, and
Okay.
correct.
So there wouldn't be any legal ability for you to move that closer to the rear of the property. It has to be there in order for the building envelope to fit within that flag lot.
Yes, unless it's a smaller foot.
What are those improvements that are proposed sort of in the lower corner, sort of in the toe of the flag lot?
So that is our stormwater management facility. The property drains to that back corner. Naturally, all the runoff will get to that back corner.
Is that how it is right now?
That's how it is right now, yes.
Okay, so what's being proposed there?
So it is a stormwater management facility that's a combination of an underground stone bed and an above ground collection area. And there's a berm proposed along the back property line, and that berm, if I can I do this? I wish I had a pointer. Do I have a pointer? I'm trying to point out. I don't have a pointer, I apologize, but the double line that if you look at that diagonal hatch,
yeah,
that is the spillway, and then on either side there's a double line. That double line is a berm. So any water that's sheet flowing off the property will be collected by that berm, and it will go back into the ground, into where the stone seepage bed is. That stone seepage bed, there's some combination of roof drains and stormwater piping that's going to collect as much stormwater runoff as it can and direct it into that underground stone bed.
So with the development on the site, would it be your opinion that stormwater would improve for the neighboring properties? Would there be less water runoff, or would there be more water runoff from the construction of that house?
We are required to reduce it from the pre-development conditions. So this stormwater management does that, or I'm sorry, bring it down to the pre-development conditions and not provide any more runoff. So yes, in my opinion, this will improve. There is a small outlet below the spillway. It's what's called a pop-up emitter. So as the water gets into the underground basin, if it is not getting back into the ground like we hope it does, it will slowly percolate out of a small pop-up emitter as the pressure in the water makes it come out.
And then approximately what's the distance from those berms
So that
to the neighboring property lines in the rear?
so that berm is. let me see. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that runs right along the rear yard. So we're probably about 30 feet or more from.
And that would
the
be
downstream.
wooded between the berm and the property line. That's the wooded
That is correct.
setback. And you wouldn't be able to construct any structures or anything within that setback or within those stormwater facilities, correct? That would have
Correct.
to remain open and unimproved except for the
Correct.
facility.
Correct.
So the construction of the driveway that sort of stops towards the front within the building envelope.
Correct. I'll also add that there are some additional plantings, shrubs that are proposed in and around the stormwater management facility to further add to the screening.
That's all the questions I had. So I'll turn it over to the board to see if the board has any.
Are there any plans for additional structures around this second dwelling that would cause additional stormwater runoff? Any, patios, or pools or other structures?
So we anticipate in our design, we anticipated a potential patio or deck and accounted for that in our design. And then we also added a few extra, some extra impervious surface for a potential pool, something like that. So all of that is accounted for in the design of the stormwater facility, if it would happen in the future.
So you said there are other flag lots along Lansdale Avenue. Are they approximately the same size of what we're looking at here? Do you know?
That I don't know, but I know there's one across the street, and then one. Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I can't answer that question. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, we approved one in the time.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
Very close to this one,
Yeah.
actually.
There was an issue that came up that was a concern about the width of that drive for that flag lot that had to be negotiated with
Because of
our
fire trucks.
fire
trucks.
safety.
So,
So so I just wanted to make sure that this meets your criteria and our equipment will be able to access the property effectively.
Yes, John Scheider did the plan review on this and came to, I guess, a compromise with the building owner to sprinkle the house. So there'll be sprinklers in the home, and that's a huge benefit for us.
Yeah.
But also that it will be able to get the fire apparatus up there.
Are there sidewalks planned for any portion of this, especially along Lansdale Avenue?
we're not proposing sidewalks. We'll be asking for a waiver for curb and sidewalk.
And we recognize that that is part of the subdivision process and in the future.
So Mr. Morano, you would understand that if you were to receive approval, it would just be for the use. It wouldn't relate to what you still need to fulfill and still need to meet during the subdivision process. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I have some questions about the trees. I'm a tree person. From the aerial view that I see here, it looks as if there are mature trees that seem to be healthy and thriving, green. I can't tell if they're deciduous or what kind of trees they are, but they're green. So that would lead to me to believe they're a healthy tree. But it seems to me that they're almost exactly where that house would be. So my question is like, are there mature trees that would be removed?
Yes, and we are within your, like I said, there will be some replacement trees required. But the trees that are the smaller trees that are being removed are within allowable removal criteria from your ordinance. So we are allowed to remove them without replacement. The replacement comes in because there is a very large tree that's sort of straddling the property line that's going to be affected by development and will likely die. So that's why we are required to do replacement trees for that large tree.
Do you know approximately what that is?
The
The replacement standard?
yes, the tree is, okay, so there's two large trees on the property. One is a 54-inch and one is a 58-inch. The 58-inch is along the property line. And to be honest, it's really not in great health. And your landscape consultant was on site with me going through the trees. And we were able to save the 54-inch tree that's in the middle of the property.
Okay.
This plan that's being projected right now does have a chart on the right side of it that documents the trees that are on site and the ones that are coming down.
Approximately for taking that specific tree down, how many trees are you going to have to
Oh,
plant
so
on
for
the
that
site?
one, there are, let's see. It's 58 inches, so it'll equate to 8 trees per your ordinance. So if you look at the plan, the circles that have the shaded hatch in the middle of them, those are the 8 replacement trees that we're proposing to make up for that one tree we're taking down. The one tree we're taking down is not shown on this plan because it was frozen, but it's actually the last tree. How can I describe this? The last tree that you see that's closest to the road, it's a sort of like a pine tree. That's the last one that we're saving. It has tree protection fence around it. And then the 58-inch tree is closer to Lansdale Ave. It's not shown on this plan. It's on our existing features plan.
Along the flagpole staff where the driveway would go.
It's on the property line that's adjacent to the Kathy. Can't even do that. Frame property. The 1009 Lansdale Avenue property. It's right on the property line.
On the other person's property.
It's
Literally.
barely on ours, sort of.
So
Yeah.
that tree will be not disturbed.
Correct. That's the 58-inch tree.
Will there be other buffering that is disturbed along the access way or the driveway to the rear property, or will that sort of remain in the current state that it's in now?
So
Or will buffering be added?
there will be some others, but like I said, we are kind of replacing some of them and enhancing the buffer in other areas.
Mhm. Along the driveway, I'm assuming that'll be a non-permeable driveway. Like
It's paved,
paved.
correct?
Okay. How will that be accounted for? I know that obviously you'll have the existing home there, as well as the neighboring home, which looks on the southern end of. Looks as if there's a structure there, and I know there to be homes along Lansdale Avenue. How will the water runoff? I'm worried about water runoff from the driveway. We've had complaints from people who, they put in a new driveway and now it's their property is being negatively affected. So I want to make sure that this new driveway doesn't introduce a new issue with runoff as a result.
Correct. Understood. And your township engineer will review this as well. But if you look at the plan, if you look at that box that says A3, that's called a 2x2 concrete yard inlet on the plan. It's on the lower
yep.
side of the plan. That's an inlet that the driveway is going to be sloped and constructed so that the water runoff from the driveway is intercepted by that inlet. It will be piped from that inlet down into that rock seepage bed.
Perfect.
So it won't sheet flow off of the driveway onto the adjoining 109 and 107 houses.
Nope.
It would go back towards
There'll be a small sort of firm swale along the southern side of the driveway so that that water from the driveway does get into that inlet and does not sheet flow onto the adjacent property.
Any other questions?
Well, the only other question I want to allow when it's appropriate for the homeowners on Pecan Drive to speak,
Yeah.
because obviously there's adjacent properties there, and I'm very concerned for their sake about them having their thoughts being.
I think the preserve order would be best to just make sure all of the witnesses that the applicant wants to call are in place, and then we'll have an opportunity and maybe recall witnesses that are more appropriate for the questions. Just to make sure that all of what's wanted to be presented is out there. They can listen to it, and then we can have the right person come back.
Gotcha. One other thing I want to clarify is I'm trying to read the deed. And it seems as if is the persons or people that will be living in the original house. Is that a current person, or is that going to be sold in the future? It looks obviously major renovations have been done to that.
Sorry, can you,
I'm assuming that's the person that owns the whole property will be is living there right now.
I will bring to answer that question. So
Okay.
sworn in.
Okay. Okay.
Are you done?
Yeah. So my question would be to that, and then to find out when we do that, but also to find out, how that relationship will be between the two properties.
So do you want to,
I have one other question before we move on to another witness.
Okay.
There was one note from our township engineer about, it's note number 10 in the packet, under general comments, the proposed driveway length is approximately 250 feet. In order to accommodate emergency service vehicles, we recommend that the driveway be constructed in accordance with section 205-17A1 of the subdivision and land development ordinance, with geotextile fabric installed under the sub-base material, or that an alternate structurally equivalent design approved by the township engineer be provided. The design shall be based on the structural number method presented in PennDOT publication 242. Will this plan comply with that note from our township engineer?
I'm not sure if the engineer knew at the time but we are proposing a sprinkler system in the house. So we are not proposing to build the driveway to a road spec, like this comment is suggesting. We opted for the sprinkler system.
Okay, so that was the alternative to, and
was that
is that based on being
I
able to
don't have
accommodate
that in John's review letter, anything about all roads in the township have to support the weight of the fire apparatus. So I would have to check into the exceptions under the code for the weight, which I can do. It's just not in the review letter, so I'm not sure if that came up as a concern in the plan, or John even had that information when he wrote his review letter. So I could take a look.
Okay.
I mean, if you're required to construct this road to comply with our EMS standards, you understand you would have to do that through the I guess the building permit process after the subdivision. Is that your understanding?
that's correct.
And it's your understanding that 250, since it's 250 feet, there is an offset. You can either construct it this way, or you could have what normally is not a sprinkled single-family residence to be sprinkled. And therefore, it's your understanding that this would not be required?
That's my understanding, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But if that turned out not to be the case, you're going to comply with what needs to be complied with, I assume, right, Mr. Morano?
That's correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, with that, call our next witness.
Thank you. I'll call my next witness, Tony Rossi.
Sir, someone said that's what you're about to say. It's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So, God,
I do.
state your name, talk to us.
Anthony Rossi,
Sorry, that's-
ROSSI.
Okay, Tony, can you just explain to the board your plans for lot 1 and lot 2?
So the original intent was to build a house for my wife and I to retire in the back and give the front house to my daughter. I'm continuing to try to push that idea. We'll see what happens. But if that can't happen, then the idea is to keep the front house open while I build the house in the back. Just so I have a place to work out of and, be there. I don't necessarily think it would make sense to sell it now, have people living there while I'm constructing in the back. I'd rather just keep it there and build the house while it's open and have a home base to work out of. Again, my perfect world, ready to retire, I would build a rancher in the back and I would give the front house to my daughter, but I can't seem to get that sold yet. So, but I can't hold up, right? I mean, if something happens and we move forward with the subdivision, I do build houses on the side, and I will construct a home there for sale.
So you will be the main contractor then?
I will, yeah.
That's really all I have unless the board has anything else.
Just a few clarifying questions. Mr. Rossi, who are you to Atlas Broadband Solutions?
I am the president and sole proprietor.
Now, to be frank, when I see and hear the name Atlas Broadband Solutions, it makes me feel like it's a telecom company and you're going to put a huge 80-foot antenna up in the rear property.
No. This started out in 2007. I'm an electrical engineer by profession. I am in construction because it's kind of the yin and yang. So I still am in the business of global technology. And Atlas Broadband Solutions was my consulting firm. I now also use it to build homes.
So
because I've always been in that as a side business. I've just completed 3 new constructions, made settlement, or actually UNO yesterday on a house in Media. And so I'm really trying to move forward with this being our kind of retirement compound. My daughter and grandson live with us now in Limerick.
Mm-hmm.
It would be great to have them have their own place. And they love where we live now, truthfully. And it's hard to get them sold. I asked Susan to try.
Because Montgomery Township is
She
awesome.
said no. So, but that's really it. And if not, I just did 3 lots in Limerick, 3,100 square foot homes, which are very commensurate with what's in the area. They're beautiful. That's probably what I would market there. It's a beautiful home.
No antennas, right?
No antennas. No.
It's the only questions I have.
And any of the trees, believe me, I want to keep the trees. That one oak tree in the middle, we're pruning it up now. I want to keep that tree. I want to keep all the perimeter trees in the back. All the big pines are beautiful, to make sure that the neighbors have, seclusion. That this is a beautiful lot.
Is your testimony that you in your perfect world, you would be living in the rear?
Absolutely.
Obviously, we're not going to make that a condition, but you're going to be building this house with the intent that maybe one day you will be living in this.
No, if it's either I'm going to build a rancher and my wife is going to say, yes, let's do it, because I built a beautiful rancher in Collegeville for the Anthonys, a couple. That house, I love that layout. If we get down the road and she decides, no, we're not moving, then I'm building one of the Limerick road houses. And I have layouts and pictures and websites, and the board could look at exactly what that house is. I can give you the addresses that they're.
Mm-hmm. Have you done the renovations on the existing home?
Yes, I did. It was more a labor of love for that house. That was, the building inspector even asked me, why did you just knock it down? Because I wanted to bring back a 1948 gem. Actually, it's beautiful.
It looks really nice.
They come out nice.
I will say that. I live close by in the neighborhood adjacent, so I drive by all the time.
Probably spent too much on it, but that's okay. That's it.
Any other witnesses?
That is our presentation tonight. We appreciate the board's time and attention tonight.
Okay, and with that, turn the microphone over. At this time, we're going to accept public comment on the application, and we'll also provide the opportunity to ask some questions to the witnesses that are here today relevant to what their testimony provided. So with that, I'll turn it over to see if the public has any comment. And if you could, for the record, provide your name and your general address.
Sure. So my name is Sean Gorman. I live at 1038 Pecan Drive. It's the adjacent lot to that angle line that you see on the view up there. Just wanted to express a couple concerns with the plans we've heard about tonight. The first one is, I guess, with regards to in my opinion, the irregularity of flag lots in our neighborhood. I think the question was raised whether there are other flag lots in this area. The answer was yes on the other side of the street. From what I've seen, I've been living in my property since 2010. There's probably less than 10% of the properties in our area do have flag lots. There are some that are scattered around, but they do look generally irregular, in my opinion. I don't like them. I don't believe my neighbors do. And then some of the ones that are used as flag lots are, there's one that backs up to the natural area at the bottom of Pecan Drive that backs up to the creek. So they're less exposed. So if there is a flag lot, it's way behind the property and it's up to a natural area. This is in a wedge lot where all the neighbors would be kind of, invisible eye distance of the new lot. So I just do have concerns about that. Also the large trees on the back of the property that we've spoken about, those large pines, those are, 50, 70-foot pines that have been there for decades. I do have a concern that the new burn and the requirements of that hill are going to make it unsustainable for some of those large trees. So I think some of the visual value of all of our properties, not just mine, in the back of that area, is that you have very large, beautiful pines that have been there for decades, and that we might need to knock down, several of those based on the hill or based on the drainage or based on how much water is down there. So even during the storms this week, when you get a lot of water with those big pines, it's not good for the root base and they get knocked over with the wind. So I'm concerned that we'll lose some of that visual effect on the back line of that yard. And then the third point, I guess, is the sustainability of that runoff back there. I'm probably, I think it was said that the property line for my yard would be about 30 feet away from that drainage area. So, I've seen some of those when they overflow, it tends to back up, within a reasonable distance of the property line. And it's already soft back there as it is. So, I'm the owner of that property at 1038, and it does get wet back there when it rains. It's kind of a natural drainage area for the hill. So I do have concerns about how much wetter it will be with that hill, and will the hill kind of overflow back into my yard. So those are some of my concerns about the property plans.
So Ms. Rice, for that last, maybe we work ourselves backwards. What impact would what is being proposed for stormwater have on the 1038 property, which is the second one up from the edge? If that area seems there's some comment that's already kind of swampy or takes on water down there.
That's because it takes on the drainage area from Lansdale Avenue. This whole entire property drains back into that back corner.
So what you're being proposed today have an impact,
So
if at all, on that property?
Right. We are proposing a small berm to intercept that water before it reaches his property and manage it in our stormwater management facility. There maybe some, you may see some small discharge out of that pop-up emitter. And the spillway, that diagonally hatched area is there to, in the extreme event that there are extreme flows, and it will direct any excess stormwater in a certain manner and towards the back property line where it goes now. But
so Ms. Rice, is that water that would be in that
Correct.
area would be otherwise on
Yes.
their property in the rear?
Right. Correct.
Now, there was some testimony also about the large pines in the back. Do you know if are those going to be preserved?
They are going to be preserved. On our plan, we show a line that has X's in it. That is a tree protection fence line. So the large pines that he's talking about are on the other side of that tree protection fence.
What impact would this stormwater facility have on the trees otherwise that are not in the facility but around the facility?
None that I could tell.
Um, there was mentioning of surrounding flag lots. I'm looking at your exhibits, A2, and I'm looking at the lots, I guess to the left on Lansdale Avenue on your side.
Numerous,
Is it, are there 3 flag lots?
there are,
Okay.
yes.
So there was some comment about the last flag lot, which I guess would be 1007C backing up to a natural area, but there are actually 2 more flag lots below that flag lot.
There's quite a few. I'm not sure of the number.
Okay. So the proposed driveway would go actually along another flag lot. And your property terminates on a second flag lot that's proposed.
Correct.
And the third flag lot does not interact with your property or touch your property line or the property line proposed here.
This is, yeah, the second flag lot abuts the applicant's property, yes.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Did I miss any other questions?
No, I think you addressed all those. I think having flag lots, touching flag lots is, an irregularity in my opinion, whether it's, allowed by a zoning code or not. I don't think it fits the character of our neighborhood. I know there are isolated flag lots that are in different parts of our street area, but some of those are extremely large lots or they back up to a natural area. I don't think it matches the character of our street area to, have adjacent flag lots or additional flag lots where you have a property that's effectively the same size as the other lots in our neighborhood. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Mr. Taggart?
Evening, appreciate the time to speak. My name is Robert Taggart, T-A-G-E-R-T. I live at 1036 Pecan Drive. My property is against the back where it's, vertical line there. Just want to start off and thank Mr. Rossi for the renovations to the original home. It looks beautiful. Looks really going to look nice in the neighborhood. I'm glad he kept the old house there. But my main concern is the stormwater. We already have stormwater issues behind our homes. During a heavy rainstorm, I could see water 30 to 40 feet wide, about 4 to 6 inches deep going across the back of my property. When we have that, I can't mow my lawn back there for at least 2 days. It's just too wet. Putting the basin in there is great to manage the stormwater coming off his property, but you're putting a seepage bed in. Our properties are clay back there. Groundwater doesn't seep into clay. So you're going to fill the stone. It's just going to overflow and then create a river across my property at a higher rate than it has now. I just don't think that, developing this property is going to help with the stormwater management through the neighborhood there. It flows through me, and I don't know how it affects the houses down from me. But we don't have storm drains. We don't have storm pipes in our neighborhood. Everything flows behind the houses in swales. So adding this is just going to create more runoff with the driveway, the rain gutters, the roof, the deck. And, I'm not sure how it's going to manage in that basin with the ground being clay. And then my other concern is these are built, the property will have its own stormwater piping and its own basin with a seepage bed in 5 years, 10 years. Who manages to make sure that's still maintained properly and still in working condition, and not just overflowing, being an overgrown basin and water passing through it into the existing properties? That was all I had. Thank you.
Ms. Rice, I know we did discuss previously stormwater runoff, but we didn't really discuss the rate of runoff. What's your opinion related to the rate of runoff or how these improvements would impact the current rate of runoff, particularly noting some comments related to the soil quality in the river?
In our stormwater management analysis, we must do a pre-development analysis to determine what the rates are leaving this property. In the post-development, we cannot increase the runoff. So once everything is constructed, it has to be equal to or less than the pre-development rates. So this stormwater management facility manages that.
And if I could ask maybe a question to Ms. McConnell, I'm not going to have you sworn. For building permits, do you need to fulfill or complete any stormwater maintenance agreements for any installations of stormwater?
Believe that's done through the land development process, and that would need to be the agreement drafted and recorded before we issue any building permits.
So would the applicant be agreeable to record, even though it's just a subdivision, an operation and maintenance agreement related to the maintaining of the stormwater facilities for that rear lot?
Yes, and if, oh, sorry. And if you look at this plan that's on the board, there are operation and maintenance notes for the homeowner to maintain that stormwater facility.
And
Yeah.
with that declaration, if that homeowner was to sell that property or transfer that property to somebody else, does that then become the obligation of the next homeowner?
It does. It
That's
does.
recorded against the property.
Correct.
So it runs with the land.
It runs with the land.
Correct.
So the concern expressed by who's going to maintain this, is it your testimony that the homeowner is going to be obligated to maintain it according to the requirements of those facilities based upon plans for them?
Yes. Yes.
And if they were to transfer it, those obligations are transferred to a secondary transferred homeowner.
That is correct. And most agreements that are implemented with the township, there is also a clause that should any homeowner fail to do so, the township can go in there and maintain.
And I believe that is in our township stormwater ordinance as well. Thank you. Any other?
That was all. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment or questions on the application? Any other questions from the board?
No.
No. So with that, all exhibits are moved in. Mr. Morano, anything to add?
No, that's all. Other than we appreciate again all of your concerns, your listening, and your attention. And as you heard from Mr. Rossi, he has residential plans for this project and put a lot of effort into the renovation on the first lot, and is hoping that the board will approve the application tonight. Thank you.
And with that, we'll close testimony. And I'd recommend that the board briefly adjourn an executive session for quasi judicial deliberation on the application, based upon there only being 3 members here tonight.
Great. Great.
So with that, I
Take a brief
we adjourn
recess.
into executive session
Yes.
for quasi judicial deliberations on the application. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back shortly.
Just to mention we're doing the flag lot and recording the agreement for stormwater, whether it's through land development or building permits.
I was sorry, I had a really hard time with the road thing.
Which one? Really?
She asked about the road, the driveway to
Oh,
build 2 roads. I had a really hard time with that one.
yeah.
I don't like that one. It's not right.
Yeah.
Not right. Tony's gonna.
That's working his magic back there.
He's good.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. He doesn't want to make waves, you know, he doesn't want to, he's gonna do his best to, he's not that kind of guy. When he developed the stuff over in Limerick and there was some issues with some things, he helped the agency and fixed them and made them better, so. Yeah, he's not one to just ignore that.
Right.
He's good.
I was gonna ask if you had any other like roots in here, but I didn't want to put that on the record because I wasn't sure. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a big one.
Yeah.
Flag lots of right. It's permitted. It's permitted.
Now it's hard.
Because actually, Walker was telling me, or something, oh, well.
Somehow we land on, oh, that's what you should do next time. Yeah, this is a lot of steps. I don't like to spin this morning around. Whoever lands, that's right. Yeah, well, just like go to like some of the things. My process is a little odd that I listen to just save an article that like original time. Like I'll just have like an article rather than like sitting and reading for different sauteing mushrooms or something. Like listening to yeah. And you can take it up very voice. Everyone's getting for attention. Yeah. I actually So I have to go into start generating. So you're talking about the survey comments. Survey comments. I haven't seen it. But that's
I know on the stormwater.
This is like a rotisserie chicken. That's what they're saying. So that's one of those things that terms. Product would be like its own APC code. I'm just thinking this counts for but as of right now, what they did here. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, at this time, we're going to re-adjourn into our hearing. And at this time, this application is before this board in a position to be voted upon for motion.
I'm going to go ahead and make the motion to approve the conditional use application to permit the proposed subdivision of the lot, creating a flag lot at this site, and conditions that will be presented by the solicitor, placed on approval.
Those conditions would be first, that the applicant comply with all the testimony and exhibits presented during this hearing. Second, that they comply with all laws, regulations, ordinances, and standards established state, federal, local. Three, that there be a condition that there be no more further divisions of flag lots of this property. Four, that the property record a stormwater operation and maintenance agreement related to the stormwater facilities that would be constructed that will require those facilities to be maintained in perpetuity. And fourth, that the driveway that would be accessing the rear flag lot would be constructed to the reasonable satisfaction of the township's fire department.
I'll second the motion.
Do we have any public comment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
There will be a written findings of facts and conclusions of law presented within the applicable timeframes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And with that, that concludes our hearing, and we'll adjourn back into the public meeting and onto the agenda.
Okay. So we're at item number 7, consider award for contract of construction of dog park. Greg Rife?
Good evening. The township received an open bids utilizing pen bids on September 14th at the township building. Gilmore and Associates, the township engineer, reviewed the 7 bids ranging from $183,627,000 to $411,068.68. And is recommending award the bid to Dane and Sons Construction Incorporated, the second lowest bidder, with a bid of $355,123.31. The apparent lowest bidder at $183,627,000 did not submit a complete bid package and are extremely low on the fencing costs. Therefore, it's the recommendation of the township solicitor, John Walco, that the bid be awarded to the second lowest bidder. The recommendation letter and bid tabulation sheets are included in your packet. The Board of Supervisors may award the bid to the second highest bidder or reject all the bids and reconsider this in the 2024 budget. Budget impact in 2022, Gilmore and Associates Incorporated, the township engineer provided us with a cost estimate of $212,744.25, and a total of $235,000 was included in the 2022 capital investment plan. The actual cost for the construction of the dog park came in $120,123.31 over the budgeted amount included in the capital investment plan.
Do we have any questions?
If I could, just as a reminder, in October, when we discussed this and you authorized the preparation of the bid and the advertisement, we had looked at their current dog park to see what the improvements would cost there. And they range from $475,000 to $670,000. And that did not include the cost to obtain any easements, because as you know, the parking is not ours. Any additional area we would need for the dog park to allow for better drainage, et cetera, was not included in that. So the board at that time suggested looking at this Knapp Road site by the Parkway as an option, and that's how the bids were developed.
I think there's an urgent and pressing need to do something to create this facility, an alternate facility based on the current conditions in our existing dog park.
I completely agree.
I would agree with that, except for I am having a real problem with the 120,000 over the budget, and I don't know. I would think rejecting the bids and reconsidering it in the 2024 budget would make more sense, other than spending that extra money.
Didn't we have a $3 million surplus last year into this year? Something like that, to the tune. I'm just, and I think we also we have funds available in our capital improvement plan.
That is correct. In the 2022 year-end audit, there was around $2.6 million surplus. However, when we raised taxes, that we anticipated that surplus to last us 5 years to offset. So in future years, we would expect a loss where we would drain from this surplus. So that was anticipated for those purposes.
But we also did transfer some money into the capital reserves for a number of large properties that were sold last year. And so we came to the board and said, for example, when the mall was sold, when Airport Square was sold, and a couple other industrial properties, because they are anomalies, we requested that we be able to transfer those funds into our capital reserves.
So even though this is over budget, I guess what I'm trying to say is that due to surpluses from other areas and other funds that were set aside for capital improvement projects, that this would not really negatively impact the budget. I mean, this doesn't create a financial hardship necessarily that we're going over budget on this.
It would show being over budget, but in terms of our fiscal soundness, it would not negatively impact the capital fund.
And what I would, also add with the Zaire property last year, that did reduce our capital fund significantly. So we do have, in the upcoming budget, to discuss, future capital projects and how to fund those as well, because of that one-time payment that we had out last year.
And if we were to put this off for another year, are the costs likely to go down, or would they continue to increase?
That's kind of hard to say. It depends. We've seen kind of both sides of the spectrum on that. We've seen some things come down and we've seen some things go up. So it all depends on the supply chain issues.
Yeah. I think based on my experience in the remodeling industry, we've continually see the prices rise and rise.
I just want to look one more time at the Lawrence site contractors. I know that they came in quite a bit low. And they didn't put in a bid on some of the required
They put the bid in, they came in extremely low,
Mhm.
mostly on the fencing. There were some other areas they came in low, but their bid packet, I believe, they weren't complete. So some of the things weren't signed.
They weren't signed, nor were they notarized. And if it was one missing signature, or if it was a clerical matter, we have in the past gotten the solicitor's
Okay.
opinion. But in this case, Gilmore is very concerned about what they put in for the bid for the fencing. And so if we accept this, we're concerned that then we're not going to get what we spec'd out, or we're going to be inundated with change
Gotcha.
orders.
Gotcha.
But more importantly, from my perspective, is they did not meet the requirements, the lowest responsible bidder, because there were documents that were not signed nor notarized.
That's a concern. And it's interesting that all the additional 6 are kind of close to each other,
They are.
more
Mhm.
close than most things are to each other. So the anomaly doesn't really make sense.
Well, it
I
also
agree.
says that the others are more on board with what's actually out there for pricing, so. yeah.
Correct.
That was the other
Yeah.
thing that jumped out at me is that all the others seem to be within, a certain price range, which says to me that that's more realistic for a project of this scope and size.
Is there a reason that our Gilmore and Associates estimate was what it was? Did it happen, too long ago? The prices changed? Like what's,
Their opinion of probable cost was done in the fall, so we included it in the budget, but what we've seen is it has changed dramatically.
Which is the case for
a lot of
almost
things?
everything else we've tried to
Everything,
bid out
Yeah.
has gone up dramatically as well. I've taken a look at the dog park as is, the current dog park. It's, I mean, right now with all the rain, it's a disaster, but, I feel as if people have come to me and said, "Oh, how come the dog park?" And I said, "Well, we're building a new one. Why would we be maintaining it to the standard expected?" And now I'm like, if we then pull the new dog park out, I feel as if that, we'd have to go in and do a considerable amount of something or other to keep that going. And I'm not sure if we want to invest any money in that dog park if we can just switch it over and make it what it should be.
So I guess that's the other question. And I don't remember, if you need to refresh my memory, what are we doing with the old park?
The old park was going to be discontinued with the building of the new one.
So it would just be vacant land then? Or what are we,
Open space, right?
just an open, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, I love dogs as well, and I, lost my dog this
Mhm.
past summer, so we're starting to look to see maybe it's
Mhm.
time for another one. This would be wonderful, so
Mhm.
I'm in that, okay.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I think though that, the existing dog park has some other challenges associated with it. It's not only just the poor drainage and, but all those easements. I feel like that the lack of an easement there creates some risk for the township, and that it's gone on for that long without it. It's, I'm anxious to get this new park built.
It has great visibility, good parking, drainage. It's going to be terrific. Point of pride for our community.
Anything else?
Yeah, I don't have any further comment.
Mm-mm. Any other insight, Greg? Any other insight that before we go forward? Okay. I'm going to entertain a motion to award the bid to Dane and Son Construction, Inc. in the amount of $355,123.31 for the construction of the Knapp Road Dog Park per the recommendation of Gilmore and Associates with the concurrence of the township solicitor.
So moved.
Second.
Any public comment? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Wait, there was someone
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Give your name and address for the record.
Hey, Scott Hemmons, 105 Clayton Court. So I'm within walking distance to the current dog park and the Knapp I believe it's 15 acres right there. So just curious if there's other plans to develop that park further beyond the dog park or any other walking paths or anything like that. And otherwise, I would say it still seems pretty high. It sounds like a fence and mulch. So it sounds for hundreds of thousands of dollars seems like a high price for a dog park. Um, so just in general, I didn't know if there was other developments happening within the beyond the dog park there.
You want to take that, Greg, or Carolyn? I'm not sure who.
I can at this time. We don't have any plans due to the drainage. The drainage has always been an issue there at that location. And due to the lack of, I'm going to say, the easement for us to get into the property, it's not township owned property to access the property. So that does create a little bit of an issue for us. So far, we've been okay.
I'll add to this as well, Scott, that my recollection on this was for them to address, even if we could get into it, for them to address the drainage issue would require taking down, and my recollection was more than 30 trees of those mature trees. And I,
Oh, right. Yeah.
right
and I'm
then
thinking
I was
more of
like,
the,
you lost
not,
me.
Not the current dog park, the new park.
No, there are currently no plans for the Knapp Road area other than the dog park.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, and the pricing that we're giving here is for the dog park alone. It's not like there's other plans involved with that. That's
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
you know, and just so you know, you're not looking at what we're looking at. I don't think. Yeah. But you know, there's going to be things that not just a fence. There will be an information kiosk. There are going to be some shade sales, and some curbing and screenings and a different agility structures for the dogs to have as almost like play spots and different dog bag dispensers and also different signage and so forth and landscaping. And I don't believe we're going to have this be wood chips again. This is going to be grass. Right. So that,
And I believe there's the option the board elected had a park for small dogs, one for large dogs, and the third one was
rotate.
free so that we could allow for rotation.
Correct.
And you're correct, it
wear
is
and tear.
grass.
Yes. That's right. And there already is a parking lot there, which is nice. So, and it is an open field. You don't have to do any, as far as I can tell, a lot of, you know, bulldozing and taking any trees down at all.
There's going to be minimal site work for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
all right. I guess we're back to all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Still,
So since there is a quorum,
Mhm.
so in a quorum, all those that are eligible to vote are 3 people, and it's the majority of those that are eligible to vote. So the vote carries 2 to 1.
so the motion
Under the
carries.
circus.
Okay, motion carries.
Motion carries.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Item number 8, consider approval of the 2024-2026 Police Traffic Services Grant. J. Scott Bendick, Chief of Police.
Good evening. Tonight, the department requests approval to submit the 2024 through 2026 Police Traffic Services Grant to the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. This grant was prepared by Highway Safety Officer Michael Jenkins on behalf of the Montgomery Township Regional Traffic Safety Team. This team was initially organized to battle the serious problem of drivers operating vehicles while impaired due to alcohol or drugs and removing those drivers from the highways. These additional team initiatives now include combating aggressive driving, promoting the use of restraint systems, and improving pedestrian safety. Montgomery Township serves as the administrator for this multi-jurisdictional program involving police departments from both Montgomery and Bucks counties. The grant funds are used to support police enforcement operations as well as to promote traffic safety initiatives. The task force has received grants to support enforcement programs for the past several years. The grant amount being requested for the 2024 through 26 years, $288,296.80. This funding will provide equipment for purchases and overtime payment for enforcement activities. It is recommended the board approve the request to submit the 2024 to 2026 Police Traffic Service Grant application.
Any questions?
No brainer.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the submission of the 2024 through 2026 Police Traffic Services Grant on behalf of the Montgomery Township Regional Traffic Safety Team in the amount of $288,296.80.
Second?
Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Thank you.
opposed? Nope, motion carries. Thank you, Chief. All right, number 9, authorization to adopt ordinance number 23-337, single-use plastics reduction ordinance. Carolyn McCreary.
Thank you. During the public comment portion of your October 10th, 2022 meeting, Township resident and EAC member Don Hamp spoke to the board about considering a ban on single-use plastic bags, and he noted he was speaking on behalf of the EAC. In May of that year, the board had adopted a resolution encouraging voluntary participation, and subsequent to that, in August of this year, the Board of Supervisors authorized the advertisement of a single-use plastics reduction ordinance. In your packet, you have the online advertisement, which occurred in the Reporter, as well as a copy of proposed ordinance 23-337. It has been properly advertised. Tonight, you are in a position to adopt it, and it would go into effect on April 2023 on Earth Day. Also, I believe Ms. Staub has a sample of the sign. It will be larger, that the township will be providing to all businesses who are affected by this, so we can have standard notification at each facility.
That's right. The only thing I would add to this, which I think this is excellent, is that there would be a 10-cent fee for the any new. Got it. Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Supervisor Staub, would you like to read the motion?
I would love to read the motion. Let me see here. Do I read the whole thing? Just
No,
right here.
just right
Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
I'll move.
Okay. All right. I'd like to put a motion forward to adopt ordinance number 23-337, the single-use plastics reduction ordinance.
Second.
Are there any public comment? All right, Ryan Rex.
Hello, I'm Ryan Rex from 109 Azalea Place, and I would just like to say we're all very proud at the EAC that this has been adopted, and it's been a long time in the making. So we would like to present Don Hamp with a little token of our appreciation. This is the royal we. Don, I made you a little statue out of these things that have been banned in the township. This is called Mother Earth on Crack, so this is for you, right? All plastics, you gotta come up here again. Well,
it's
so that's you. Watch out, spot will drop out. So put your hand underneath it. Okay. Good. So now, I want you to say something.
Good evening. My name is Don Hamp. I live at 104 Field Terrace. I'm a member of the EAC panel here as well. I'm also a co-lead of the Southeast Pennsylvania Single-Use Plastic Organization. We meet about once every other month. There's between 35 and 40 other townships who join regularly on that. I'd like to say right out that those of you who are supporting the ordinance, we thank you as Ryan did. I think this is an important first step. As all of you are aware, in terms of climate crisis that's going on, this is a small step, but it's an important step that we can make. For those of you who are maybe on the fence or feel either in the audience or on the board who feel against such an ordinance, I'd like to say the following is if you look at our borders, I'll draw the connection. what's going on in the Rio Grande. When I was there in Mission, Texas, and I saw this firsthand, where we have tens of thousands of refugees going across. This is happening in Italy and Greece, of course. Experts around the world are saying these are really climate refugees. Guatemala is in the middle of the hottest decade they've been in. And we've learned throughout the decade that when the country gets too hot, farms fail, people get hungry, governments descend into lawlessness, and jobs disappear, and people flee. People flee those countries. What I'm reading and everyone is saying is that over the next 50 years, we're going to grow from 1% of the world being uninhabitable because of heat up to 20%. That 20% includes all of Central America. It is predicted in 50 years, all of Central America will not be inhabited. That includes Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama, Guatemala, parts of Mexico, Costa Rica, and all those other countries. Hundreds of millions of people will have to find another place to go. So we have to keep the planet from reaching 2 degrees C. That's agreed across the world. Hundreds, thousands of experts, hundreds of universities, all of the UN all agrees with that. The connection is we have to use less fossil fuel. We have to drill for it. We have to use it less in single-use products. The connection with the plastics is clear. Plastics is made from oil. We can, if this ordinance is passed, based on the parameters I looked at for the government with 25,000 residents, we can remove about 8 million bags from Montgomery Township. That translates to about 82 tons per year of plastic we can remove. It's a small step. There's lots more that is coming, but I urge the supervisors to pass this ordinance. It's not perfect. I think every time I read the ordinance, I think, oh, we might be able to tweak something. And it's been my experience, I'll share, that for many municipalities, they pass an ordinance and it's not perfect. The restaurants or someone is unhappy with it and they have to amend the ordinance. But I encourage you to pass the ordinances as written, but be flexible for changes that may have to be made to the ordinance that going down the line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Thanks, Don.
Would you like to call it for a vote, Beth?
So I would like to,
You already read the motion. You have it second, so you call the vote.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None
Abstain-
opposed?
Anyone opposed? None, no one left to oppose, so motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, EAC.
Yes, this is a big step. Thank you.
All right, number 10, consider certification of 2024 minimum municipal obligation, MMO, for the police pension fund and non-uniform employees pension fund. Brian Shapiro, Director of Finance.
Thank you. The MMO is the calculated funding obligation to the township's police and non-uniform employee pension plans. Act 205, Section 304 requires that the Chief Administrative Officer submit the MMO for the upcoming budget year to the board on or before the last business day in September. Upon acceptance, the amount of the MMO must be incorporated into the budget for the next year and funded. Based on the instructions from Ashley Wise, Conrad Siegel Actuaries, staff has prepared the 2024 MMOs for both the police pension plan and the non-uniform pension plan, which are attached here too. It is the recommendation of staff to acknowledge that the police pension fund MMO for 2024 would be $316,605, and the non-uniform pension plan amount be $369,556.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, then I will make a motion to accept the 2024 minimum municipal obligation for the Montgomery Township Police Pension Fund in the amount of $316,605, and the motion to accept the 2024 minimum municipal obligation for the Montgomery Township non-uniform employees pension fund in the amount of $369,556.
Second.
Any public comment? No. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nope. Motion passes. Okay. And number 11, ratification of real estate tax appeal settlement, 120 Garden Golf Boulevard. Ryan Shapiro, Director of Finance.
Yes, thank you. The taxpayer filed an appeal for the property tax related to 120 Garden Golf Boulevard for the 2022 tax year. The Board of Assessment Appeals issued a notice of no change in assessment in September 2021. In October of 2021, the taxpayer filed an appeal to the Court of Common Pleas. The North Penn School District negotiated a settlement with the taxpayer, resulting in a decrease of assessed value to $587,400. For the 2023, the assessed value will become $3.5 million. Based on the proposed settlement, the township will need to issue a refund of $876.23 for tax year 2022 and $1,462.63 for the tax year 2023. The repayment of the real estate tax revenue totals $2,338.86. The solicitor's office has reviewed the proposed settlement and recommends the Board of Supervisors approve the settlement.
Thank you. Any questions?
Is this Costco? No, okay. I'm just trying to figure out where I'm at. All right.
We good? All right. Motion to approve the stipulated settlement for 120 Garden Golf Boulevard and authorize the township solicitor to execute the document on behalf of the township.
Second?
Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes. And number 12, consider award of contract for stormwater infrastructure improvements. Greg Ray.
All right, good evening. The township received an open bids utilizing Penn bid on September 20th of 23 at the township building. Gilmore and Associates, the township engineer, reviewed the 6 bids ranging from $192,155 to $408,220.82 and is recommending award the bid to KBC Construction LLC, the lowest responsible bidder, with a bid of $192,155. The recommendation letter and bid tabulation sheets are included in your packet. The board authorized the advertisement of the bid at its public meeting on August 14th of 2023. A total of $277,000 has been allocated in the 2024 capital investment plan for stormwater improvements. Staff is recommending we move forward with this project in 2023. So it would be our recommendation to award the bid as recommended to KBC Construction LLC.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and motion to award the contract for the storm sewer infrastructure improvements to KBC Construction LLC, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $192,155 per the recommendation of Gilmore and Associates Township Engineer.
Second.
Public comment? No. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, number 13 are new business department reports. The township staff has prepared reports for the month of August. If there are any questions, the department directors will be available to answer them. This is an opportunity to staff to bring items to the issues to the Board of Supervisors of interest or for which they need input or direction. This month, Chief of Police Scott Bendig will provide the board with an update on the activity of the department's newly created Professional Standards Division.
Yes, good evening. Earlier this year, the board allowed me the opportunity to actually expand the department and add a position, what's called a professional standards. Sergeant Davis has assumed that role and actually has done an outstanding job since that occurred in January. He currently is responsible for actually onboarding our 2 new officers that we swore in 2 weeks ago. But I felt this was a good opportunity for me to at least touch on some of the things that Sergeant Davis is doing in his new role. What we've been able to do since we began this program is we were actually able to pull together all of our training data. If you notice in your monthly activity report for the police department, I included a simple spreadsheet that shows how many hours the police department is engaged in training, which again is quite a monumental task considering we have people all over the place 24/7, 365. So we're able now to really gather all that information, that data to really insulate the organization and the municipality to show how much training we are doing and how important it is to the mission and goals of the department. In addition to that, we have actually started Lexapol as a portion of our Lexapol package that we have. We have what's called daily training bulletins. And what that does is allow us to pull these training bulletins, and we're actually utilizing those to train the officers on more or less. They provide a simplistic scenario and then show them what policies they would use to at least come to a resolution with the proposed or with the example that's given. And again, it's really just reemphasizes the policy piece of our training module. We are also transitioning to our new firearms that the board allowed us to purchase with the sighting optics, which has really improved the performance of the officers on the range, which is, again, it's really a wonderful thing. We met today with our risk management provider through the trust, and he was very pleased to see that we had embraced that technology from a risk management perspective. In addition, what we are also doing through this position is we're actually trying to utilize the community center as much as possible. We are partnering with a lot of different organizations to provide training, not only to officers in the department, but also by sponsoring this training, we get additional free slots. So we have training scheduled up. Women in Command is a training that we're offering to departments throughout the 5-county area through Caliber Press. We're also sponsoring a training through the National Insurance Crime Bureau regarding auto theft, which we're seeing an uptick in, which has also been noted in our monthly report. So again, we try to utilize this position to really kind of hit on some real topical things that we're seeing in law enforcement today. Also, as I said, the recruiting and the lesson plans that we're planning for the officers, the new officers, as we're onboarding them, have also been really been very helpful. We also are in the process of doing department qualifications for all of our officers. And we also, this month, we touched on department training. Each month, the district attorney's office provides us a information packet on updated case law that is actually distributed by the sergeant, and officers are tested on their proficiency in case law. We also do critical policy reviews. This past month, we did vehicle pursuits and foot pursuits as well. So we really, this position has really allowed us to really bolster our training portfolio for the department and for the officers as a whole. So I do appreciate the opportunity that's you've given us to really, again, to help improve the department moving forward. So I just thought that was an important piece to bring to the table, so you saw some of the benefits as to the position as was created. So thank you.
Great job as always, Chief. Thank you.
It's amazing that spreadsheet that outlines all of the training,
The hours.
the hours,
Mhm.
and total training hours for 2023 so far to date, 3,468 and change.
Right.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I guess we'll go into committee board liaison reports. So volunteer committees or boards, anybody meet and want to give updates on that? You want to start, Beth?
Sure. Our EAC meeting is right tonight. This was our meeting was here tonight. So
Okay.
you know what happened because you were here. And we had our business development partnership met this past Tuesday at the mall. And we had a great presentation by Melvin Ford, and they really are a committed partner with with our township, looking to, you know, um, do what they can to within their ability to work with this. One of the things I found interesting, which I assumed that Sears was just a vacant area. Apparently, Sears, or the Sears holding company that owns that Sears, is still under lease until 2030. So I just assumed that was like a loss, and they were like, we can't do anything with that. And I thought that was an interesting little factoid. I thought I'd pass on because you probably knew that, and I didn't know that. So I thought I would say something about that. And they're doing what they can to maintain the parking lots and try and I think that one of the big assets for Montgomery Mall is the fact that we live in a community that's a safe community, and it's an affluent community, and I think that is going to draw in people, and that's what they're looking to bring in, not only retailers, but they're considering looking for grants to put in car chargers, vehicle charging, and so they're looking into that. And they're looking for ways to partner within the community. It's really refreshing to see, and just so you know, they're really trying to be a part of our community as much as they are able. So, and they have a new general manager in place, and so we're getting to know them as well. So, anyway, that was and then everyone else is puts in their things. And I reading through the police reports, and there are a lot of things that are concerning because people are there from, that there are some, issues with theft and whatnot. But that's not unique to our area. In fact, many other areas are having far worse issues. And I think this is just considered a safe. When people think about Willow Grove Mall, as an example. There are a lot of retailers that are moving out of that because of safety concerns, and that's not an issue for Montgomery. So we're hoping that we can, if you will, cash in on that good reputation that we have, that we'll be able to draw some benefit from that. So that's that.
I'll give a quick update on the Parks and Recreation Board. They are very excited that we approved the feasibility study to repurpose the farmhouse, I guess, at Wendell Street Park. So a lot of excitement on the committee that we're moving forward with that project. I'm interested to see what can be made of that facility and what the cost will potentially be. They received a request from a resident for additional pickleball courts and the repurposing of some of the pickleball courts that are currently, or other facilities that are currently existing. And I think specifically they were interested in the hockey, what's that hockey called? There's like outdoor hockey.
Street hockey.
Street hockey.
Thank you.
Gosh, I couldn't come up with it. So the street hockey courts, especially at Spring Valley Park, that are lit. And so that was a proposal that was made to the Parks and Recreation Board. I think they didn't have quorum on that for that particular meeting. No vote was held, but the general consensus was that they didn't really like taking facilities away from one sport and repurposing them for another. And, feedback from both Greg and Floyd was that those street hockey courts do actually get used. And so, again, it kind of lent some energy, I think, and weight behind, maybe there was a way that we could explore in the budget process additional pickleball courts. I'm not sure if that's possible. There was a request. It is incredibly popular.
Maybe Sears will donate their facility and we can put them in there.
Yeah.
There are malls that are taking their big box stores and converting them.
Now you ruined my punch.
sorry.
You jumped on my punchline. But Floyd was quick to point out that and the private sector is also stepping forward to meet this need in the marketplace right now. and that it wasn't necessarily impinged on or the township's responsibility necessarily to to meet the need or the demand. We have ample pickleball courts already. So that was sort of an interesting and lively discussion at the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting.
The Board of Supervisors also, as part of the when the Whistle Stop Park Improvement Project, we are going to be installing pickleball courts there. Now, obviously,
6
it's
or
not
8?
going to be happening right away, but because we're working on Fellowship Park next, is our which we had a bid for, and we're moving forward there. But Whistle Stop is on the charge, and we received 2 grants as a result of it because we are expanding recreational opportunities for a variety of people. And I'm pleased that they didn't want to take away an amenity because that never looks good.
No, it's also generational differences. Like it's taking something away from youth in general. But anyway, that's good.
And I was traveling for a conference and was not able to attend the Shade Tree Committee meeting or the Sewer Authority meeting. Do you have anything, Marianne?
We just discussed some possible projects for next year, and then we went over the community forestry workshop that we have scheduled for Friday, November 3rd. It's actually here at the Township Building this year. So we're doing our last push this last month to get it out there, promote it. And I know Derek has had it on the website and the e-news as well.
Fantastic.
I missed my rec center meeting because I had something for work, but I did get to public safety. So I'll just point out a couple of things I thought was interesting. One, our drone was used for a building fire on Stump Road on the roof so that they could see what was going on, and that assisted them a lot. So good thing we got the drone. Right. The rapid flashing beacons are still being installed and worked on. That was great. We got our update from Chief, so we'll leave that with that, other than to remind us that Rob Johnson will be retiring. So let's keep that in mind for replacement officers then as well, and that we will need to be hiring more. And then Greg, Richardson Road, do we have the dates for those closures?
Yes, Richardson Road will be, it's scheduled, if the weather holds up, it'll be October 2nd. So it'll be next Monday is the date. And it'll be closed approximately a week.
About a week.
Is what we're kind of shooting for. It might be a little bit, it might extend a little farther than that. Depending on weather and any issues they encounter out there on site.
All right, thank you. All right, anything else? Other than that, it's getting late, so I'm going to do a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. You're very welcome. So did you learn also? So you're taking some minutes. Okay. Do you need any other information for your reports?
Yes. Probably have to sign off on some stuff here.
Yeah.
One of these don't work.